This is a spaghetti squash. A while ago, Max sent me a text message that said, "Hey man, I got a friend who messed up making a spaghetti squash," and I thought, I don't really know how to make a spaghetti squash either. So I said, alright, well I can show you guys how to roast one. It's super easy, and if you're in for the hour and 45 minutes that it takes, you're going to have a really healthy dinner.
And you're going to impress some people. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be something that sometimes a lot of people don't know about different varieties of squashes. From acorns, delicatas, butternuts, honey nuts, buttercups, kabocha, sunshines. This is a spaghetti. They just recently have had a offering at the restaurant from different farmers who are growing a miniature size of this. So it's more sweet, it's more intense flavored. It's kind of cool. So if you see one next time you're at a restaurant, I suggest you get one.
Cool.
It'll be really good.
Into it.
This is our spaghetti squash, guys. What we need to do is cut it in half, remove the seeds, and then after we're done roasting it, I'll show you why they call it a spaghetti squash. So we take our squash and our chef knife. This is a chef knife. First thing we're going to do is we're going to push the knife into it and then come towards yourself, keeping your hand away from the sharp part of the blade. Super important for safety measures. Squash start to split. Rotate it over. Again, keeping the blade away from your hand. Split the squash. In two.
What's that cooking?
We have split our spaghetti squash. So you see, it's filled with the flesh and seeds. We don't really want that. It doesn't really do us any good. Unless you want to save the seeds, you could roast them and eat them, but I don't really want to. I don't like the flavor of them. I prefer like butternut squash seeds or acorn squash seeds. They have like a nuttier flavor. I don't really like spaghetti squash seeds. So we're going to take our spoon and we're going to dig out the guts. Take it. Start digging away. You can start seeing.
It's like a pumpkin.
Yeah, kind of like a pumpkin. Very much like a pumpkin, Max. Exactly.
Same kind of smells.
It does have a similar smell to pumpkin. Almost bad smelling. You know?
Initially, it's really bad smelling.
Yeah, you open it up and you're like, oh, holy crap.
Yeah. It should not be off-putting to anybody, you know? It's just
Totally.
kind of the way the vegetable comes.
And you see how these strands are opening up? Almost look like those strands of spaghetti? That is why we call it a spaghetti squash.
Good to know.
So we dug out the seeds and flesh from the spaghetti squash. I got some butter because I like to cover my spaghetti squash in butter when I roast it. It gives it a really awesome flavor. Inside of here, what we're going to do is we're going to poke some holes in it so it'll help the speed of how fast it's going to cook. So just poke a few holes along the flesh. You don't have to go crazy. So just a few. Boom. So now we're going to fill this cup with the butter, and as it cooks, it's going to soak into the rest of the spaghetti squash, making it super, super awesome. Fill it up with some butter, like so.
This is the pepper.
Yeah, we're putting the pepper on it, Max.
A little salt we
Boom,
put on
a little
earlier. Same thing.
So now that it's all seasoned, it's ready to go into the oven. So what we're going to do is put our oven, 375. I'll put it on the middle rack. It's going to be in there for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Alright, it's been about an hour and a half. We're going to pull out our butternut squash.
This is where a lot of people have had their hang-ups, right here.
Right here, let's see if it's done. We're going to grab our fork.
How do you tell?
Well, it's going to be tender, Max.
Tenderness, right?
Tender. As my man Otis Redding once said, try a little tenderness. See how it's easily pulling?
Yeah.
That means it's about there. Easily, you can put your fork right into it. It's totally pulling away.
So, from one of the complaints that we got earlier from someone who said, "Hey, could you make this for me?" What was their hang-up that they were having that they couldn't get to?
See how it looks like spaghetti?
Yeah.
They weren't cooking it. You can't pull a spaghetti squash without cooking it.
You must cook it to pull it apart.
Look at it. It looks like noodles. That's where the spaghetti squash comes into play.
And then from here, the sky is kind of the limit.
Sky's the limit. You can mix it with stuff. Treat it like you would spaghetti.
Can I usually use the whole cabinet and even fill it with something and decide, like, hey, it's a boat basin?
Are you talking about filling the squash?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so there's all kinds of different ways
absolutely.
to play with it. And what's the taste, chef?
Oh my god.
Bon appetit.
That was so good.